Alright guys, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Tomb Kings led by Prepare for the Bear, facing off against Professor Pone and the Children of the Night, the Vampire Counts, in this Halloween Duel of Fates. Now, as far as the Tomb Kings build goes, it is going to be a front line of skeletons and skeletons and skeletons. Not terribly surprised, that's what most of their kingdom is comprised of. But there's going to be a lot of semi-elite units in this army, so Ushabti Great Bows are obviously pretty good, and the basic variant of the Ushabti Great Bows is good at sniping kind of bigger targets, so like a dragon, corpse carts, cryptors, things like that, whereas the ROR is better against like the infantry. But yeah, so these bad boys can put some big pressure on any sort of Tomb Kings flyers, or excuse me, Vampire Counts monsters, flyers, whatever. Granted, could be a little bit vulnerable to being tied down by Fellbats, or Varguys can certainly tear them to shreds, but we'll see how they do. Now, there is going to be a couple Sepulchral Stalkers. I really like these guys in this matchup. Nice laser beams they shoot from their heads. Very cool freaking laser beams. And yeah, they have halberds in case they get caught by enemy blood knights or cryptors or things like that. They can fall victim to getting tar pitted by infantry for sure, because their infantry killing power is really subpar with only 23 melee attack and not the biggest model count. But if they can get on those large targets, they can really shine. On the far side, more skeleton spears. So yeah, a lot of anti-large in this build. One of the issues it may run into is dealing with heavy ground support, like heavy ground troops. So, Cetra the Imperishable, all right. So, Cetra on its horse, you know, he's feeling a little bit simple today, the humble Cetra. A man of a few titles for sure, but he's going to be rocking Usirian's Incantation for a little damage, Nero's Incantation, as well as Jaff's Cursed Blades. So, getting some of that sweet healing from the Tomb Kings. Now, for old Pone Dog, it is going to be a Graveguard build. Interesting using Graveguard Great Opens and basic variants. In this matchup, I would highly recommend the Shielded variant because Tomb Kings simply don't have a ton of armor. I mean, they do have it in their constructs, but then, you know, Graveguard going against constructs isn't very effective because their base melee attack's really low unless they're getting their bonus versus infantry, right? So usually the shielded variant's best. The higher melee defense in tandem with their bonus versus infantry is quite good. Zombies, and it looks like there's going to be some White Kings. White Kings have been a staple in this matchup for years, basically. I think, God, man, when did the Tomb Kings come out? Like, what, 2018? Something like that? Jeez, it's like 5 years. Man, time flies, dude. It's creepy, for sure. But the White King Scab Scrape does a ton of damage against the skeletons, and you can see it do damage against that light. We'll see it in this game. So the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord's a huge duelist character. He has amazing combat stats and really, really good combat abilities. If you guys are a bit newer to the game, which I suspect most of you who watch the channel have been playing for a long time, but we'll go over it again. Helm of Discord just does big AoEs and debuffs the stats of your opponents nearby, and he probably has, the Honor or Death, which gives him ward save when he's in combat. Very nice for dueling, and it looks like the other abilities weren't brought, like the kind of the stat augments, but yeah, he's still really, really powerful. The backside, Dire Pack going to be lurking around. That's a good play from Pone. If you can get the Dire Pack on top of the Ushabti Great Bows, or even on top of Sepulchral Stalkers, that's like turbo cost effective. And now the Great Bow is going to be shooting into the Graveguard Great Opens, and we'll do some advancing as these skeletons trudge towards one another. Cetra going to be going for a duel here, so he does decide to run in and punt down that White King, but the White King takes it like a champ and doesn't seem to take too much damage. And now Cetra going to be running away using Usirians probably? Yes, on top of the Graveguard. Not a bad choice for sure. It's kind of like, not like a Buna effect, but it still does respectable damage and can, wear things down over the course of a long game. Good Ushabti Great Bow fire, for sure. Getting that Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone. That thing's going to be going down. Basically 500 gold in the drain for the Vampire Counts right out of the gates. Pone at the backside waiting with the Dire Pack, but I would imagine Tomb Kings might see this and call in some Nehekara Horsemen or something, which would win against Dire Pack. It's a pretty heavy-duty fight, but the Dire Pack probably would end up losing there. And look at that, the Blood Dragon Lord getting a little bit crunk here, moving in, dueling Cetra, who doesn't have as much healing, and getting fire quality. Yeah, look at that. Wow, 25% damage on that bad boy. Now, Tomb King's Chariots coming in. Always love to see those things in action, and they do some decent work for sure. They get a little bit caught up on the Graveguard, but their initial impact is very nice, as you would expect from Chariots. Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone does get an invo, trying to stabilize it, but its leadership is so poor that it's probably going to be crumbling there, so it does end up paying the troll toll. Now, the Graveguard are getting very, very close to the enemy army, and this is where the Vampire Counts will probably start to have some success. As far as the call-ins go, we don't see anything from Pone yet, really. Some Cryptors on the backside being called in, which are always nice for tar pitting and just being disruptive. And for the Tomb Kings, I believe they've just been calling mostly skeletons in. Yeah, we have the Kepra Guard, which are amazing here, and a couple Skeleton Spears to hold Objective 3. Now, big gooning attempts going in. Pone's being really aggressive here, moving into the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord against Prepare for the Bear Cetra. And Cetra, of course, being the brave ruler, is going to be running away and letting his servants do the fighting here. And the Blood Dragon Lord, I would expect to probably scurry away from this fight. Certainly not looking too hot here. On the backside, we do get Black Knights being called in. And the Dire Pack is now going to be committing to the fight. So those bad boys are going to be circumventing the formation, and they're going to be nibbling. And this is very, very cost-effective for the Vampire Counts. Their anti-large bonus against the low melee attack here of the Great Bows will be good, but Prepare for the Bear responds well, pulling the Skeleton Warriors to buffer them off. Now what Pwn would want to do is disengage with the Dire Pack if he can, but I would imagine his micro is a little bit taxed, probably trying to keep this Blood Dragon Lord alive. But all the Graveguard have made it in. Value is relatively close. We see 24 to 35, so about 1,000 with healing taken into account. It's kind of anyone's game, really, but I would say Tomb Kings are a little bit ahead. Screaming Skull Catapult, kind of a funny position. It looks like it still is actually shooting over that tree line and having some success as the undead Duel of Fates does continue. We see the legions of the Vampire Counts cleaving and doing well in the front line. A lot of crumbling I was trying to say the two factions' names at once, but a lot of crumbling Tomb Kings here for sure. The Dire Pack, unfortunately, being left in combat is a bit of a mistake, but they still do chew through these Skeleton Warriors with the support of the good quality infantry. Middle objective owned by the Vampire Counts, far side owned by Tomb Kings, and the objective one owned by Vampire Counts as well. So Counts do have the objective advantage. If they can not hemorrhage too many models, they should start to do okay for themselves here. And a big thing for them is going to be trying to keep this Blood Dragon Lord alive. And he does have pretty okay support nearby. He's got like some zombies, some Graveguard, and it looks like the Black Knights here did come in and end up crumping down that Skeleton Chariot, which was running rampant. So if the Blood Dragon Lord can survive the Great Bow focus fire, yeah, look at that. Both Great Bows are just trained on him. And on the backside, more Dire Wolves being called in from Pwn, and he is going to be shutting him down with at least one. So the Dire Pack might make it there. They're at 6 leadership, and yeah, this Blood Dragon Lord's going to have to juke hard, because those Great Bows will tear him apart. And look at this. The Black Knight's disengaging. That's also nice. They're going to circle around the side, but so far Prepare for the Bear is doing a really good job protecting his assets back here. He hasn't really taken too many substantial losses. His Sepulchral Stalkers and other units in the front line still seem to be in okay shape. Black Knight's coming in, going to be really cool looking, but unfortunately the Spears will handle them easily. Cetra is also there with his anti-large poking stick, and he's going to run in and break their formation immediately, sending one of those Knights back to the abyss from whence they came. Other Black Knights going to be surging through, charging into the Skeleton Spears, and understandably, yeah, that's probably not worth it for them. They're not a cheap unit. Black Knights are pretty elite. By like kind of cheap cap standards. Certainly when you compare them to like Empire Knights and Jade Lancers and things like that, they're a little bit stronger with their bonus versus infantry and their weapon strength and whatnot, their stats. But on that same coin, the Empire Knights are probably more cost effective because of the higher armor value in tandem with their lower cost. The Black Knights are a bit overcosted. They shouldn't be as cheap as Empire Knights, but they shouldn't be as expensive as they are now. And yeah, they just get completely wrecked in the backfield. But the Vampire Counts are holding on to the points really well, and you can catch yourself in the situation against Vampire Counts where you kind of just find yourself not able to get them off the objectives. And a lot of the value that the Tomb Kings have is tied up here in the Blood Dragon Lord for sure. But it looks like a bit of a momentum shift on the objective, perhaps. Stern's been fighting very, very well here. White King still grinding away against the Skeleton Spears. Graveguard Grey opens against Kepra Guard. Bit of a hardcore fight over here. Kepra Guard will do well. They have better stats, way better stats, and they regenerate. But the White King might make the difference. There is a White King in there. Oh, a little bit of artifacting on the grass. Classic stuff there. With the White King doing some spinning attacks. I love how they just have some haggard animations for all like the different, like the karate kick animation and like the jump, like the shield bash. Like every model just basically uses it. It's pretty funny. But here comes the Crypt Horrors, who shop the Great Bows are getting quite a bit of firepower in there. The Blood Dragon Lord has been disruptive, but I can't see him having gotten his value back by now. Only 1,400 is not bad, but he's an expensive one. He's probably close to 3,000 gold. Looks like he's going to be taken to Pound Town as more Dire Wolves are sneaking around the back from Professor Pwn. Looking to... Oh, man, that would be a huge grab. If those Dire Wolves could get on top of these, that would be huge. But look at this. Prepare for the Bear sees it. He calls in his Skeleton Horseman, and Pwn's ambush is going to be shut down to the backfield. Very, very good awareness down. Now, backside objective is flipping here. This is really bad for the Vampire Counts because they're kind of playing this objective tar pitting game. More Dire Wolves going to be running in, but it looks like the Count Choculas have managed to win on this objective, and the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is going to be fleeing the scene. Probably either invo yourself or maybe an unsummon at this point. You could use him to just go over here and take down the Skeleton Horseman too. He'd probably be able to handle it since he has the hunger. But man, those Great Bows are just pounding him and giving him the dirty. Dire Pack being called in. Nice surround here on top of the Great Bows. But the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, he's not long for this night for sure. He's going to pay the price here in this undead Duel of Fates. As we move to the other side, Objective 3 taken by the Tomb Kings. Or held by the Tomb Kings, excuse me. And the far side point is going to be ninja'd, and Pwn doesn't appear to have any call-ins here. So the Blood Dragon Lord, is he going to make it? Probably not going to stabilize. He's at negative 28. The Crumbling is hitting pretty good there. And the Black Knights and Skeleton Spearmen are being called out, which means he'll probably be able to recapture that objective. But now the entire Vampire Counts army is going to be taking a bit of a penalty on its leadership, which is going to hurt. You know, a lot of their core units don't have the best leadership. They are unbreakable, so they should, crumble more so. But, honestly, I think Vampire Counts are in a pretty good place. I just feel that the reason why their win rate is so low is because the the natural predators to them in the meta. Like, just these broken factions, like, you know, you get like Kislev and you get Beastmen with Zangors and like all the Mutalith beasts on both Tzeentch as well as Warriors of Chaos. Pretty much like those units single-handedly countered a lot of what Vampire Counts were doing. Like in the previous patch, Counts were doing pretty well, and then the Mutalith beast got added and it basically just screwed them up in tandem with the OP Kislev units like the Akshina Ambushers. But Vampire Counts holding on to the middle well. Cryptors and the Graveguard sustainability is really paying huge dividends. The double White Kings are in relatively good shape, and the Corpse Cart with the Unholy Lodestone's back in business. You can see the Dragon has fallen. Both players pumping out resources here. Black Knights dominating the cavalry of the Tomb Kings with relative efficiency, and now some Skeleton Horsemen going to be scooching around the side here, trying to get an objective 2 in the backfield. The catapults still shooting away. Man, that's a fell. You need a Fellbat calling for that. Fellbats would be really disruptive there and could potentially kill one of those. But the catapults are doing a good job wearing down these units progressively. Now we're going to see a little bit of chariot play coming in from the sky, so the Tomb King's chariots do get a nice charge onto the flank there of the Graveguard, and the bread is indeed getting buttered. Skeleton Horsemen up on the point, and now for the first time in the game, we do see the objective starting to flip to Tomb Kings a little bit, but the Black Knights coming in might be able to shut down these chariots. We'll have to see. And I wonder if Pwn will save for his lord again. Probably not. Oh, the Vampire Gorilla is coming. The Vargulf, a monster you don't see terribly often. Extremely low weapon strength, but Vargulfs have the advantage of being extremely fast and having regeneration, so I actually like Vargulfs. I think they're kind of a neat niche monster for sure. There's some matchups in which they can really shine. Yeah, here against Tomb Kings, I guess like the Great Bows are punishing against them, but you know, the dreaded face-to-foot style, you know, you get kicked in the face enough, eventually, you know, it's going to run out of ammo. The foot's going to get tired, and the Vargulf can come in, and the big boys. Now on this side, Chariot's trying to run things through, Zombies running to intercept these Ushapti, and Pwn really needs to get that side objective back, like really badly. He's going to be suffering there pretty hard. Tomb Kings could be running out of steam a little bit in terms of their stopping power. Like, them in melee against this Vampire Count army is tough. The Black Knights are up trading. The Cryptors are so incredibly tough to get rid of. It's a good thing they got nerfed a couple patches ago. They're still a very good unit, like one of the best on the whole roster, but Cryptors were extremely impressive. They used to have like 1,000 more HP and just like better stats and just like, oh god, it was awful. But now these Skeleton Spears sitting at 10 leadership. Obviously Chariots, if they're moving into them unbraced, are going to be extremely punishing. And I do like this push from Prepare for the Bear. Coming in with a bunch of Skeletons. What would be a good counterplay from Pwn might be to do some sort of heavy push on 3, but I don't know, maybe not, considering Cetra's sitting there and also some of those bad boys. Are the Vampire Counts going to be able to play these points is the question. We do get a Column of Graveguard. Graveguard will trade upwards into these units very well, but we do see Prepare for the Bear pulling the lead here in this Halloween special. Certainly been a very good game so far. As the Vargulf dukes it out in the middle, Black Knights chewing through the Tomb Guard units. 69 models, that's what she said, hanging in there strong. That is a lot of Skeletons, and Skeletons are fixed this patch. They have expendable capture weight. In the previous patches, this would have been 15 capture weight instead of 9, which is just absurdly broken. But these Chad Skeleton Spearmen, man, holding in there. They do actually get that Chariot to crumble down, and now they're holding their own against the Ushapti. I thought they might actually go down. If the Ushapti had engaged from the front and the Skeleton Chariot had pulled around the back and rear charged them and refreshed his charge bonus, would have been a bit of a cleaner fight for sure. But now, where are these Black Knights going to be going? Probably to intercept these Skeleton Horsemen. The White Kings and Vargulfs and Cryptors are able to dominate in the middle, and the Sternsmen have just been going all day, dude. They haven't heard any bell whatsoever. Screaming Meme Catapults shooting into the blob there, doing some work, as we do see the Dire Pack, and probably just Parky on this objective wouldn't be terrible. And there is going to be a call-in of a couple zombies just for some, threatening on that point. As the Graveguard make their way in, they're not going to have a great time because of the Ushapti. The Ushapti are going to be very problematic against them. Bonus versus infantry, armor piercing. Very good stuff indeed. So here comes the boys. Skeleton Warriors on their way up. We do see the Black Knights pulling back here. And it looks like there is going to be a duel on the side point here, as Pwn is certainly being squeezed for time. Prepare for the Bear is going hard on the paint on the objectives, but the Dire Pack does get the charge. A bit of a lapse in micro here from the Tomb Kings. And the Dire Pack will now really nibble down these Skeletons. And I guess Vampire Counts probably just migrate over towards Objective 3 with their big blob in the middle, but they can't really afford to leave. There's a lot of stuff pressing here, so he might have to end up staying on that point. Ooh, the Ushapti, though, coming to the middle is a big win. That actually gives the opportunity for these Graveguard to move in and just chew through these units, which opens up a potential triple cap threat a little bit later in the game. That's really big. Now, as far as call-ins here, we got Zombies moving up, we got Graveguard, and on the other side, not going to be a whole lot. Here we do see the Graveguard now engaged in combat. Skeleton Spears obstructing them a little bit, but the Graveguard unit, this one Graveguard would solo all three of these Skeletons very easily with the armor and the bonus for its infantry, and just they pretty much have everything they need. Graveguard are one of the better like anti-chaff units in the game. They don't like have like the obscene killing power of like maybe, I'm trying to think of a similar example, like I don't know, like a Hellscourge warrior, but although I don't know, maybe, but yeah, they hold a long time. I'm having a hard time thinking of an anecdote here. In the back, we do get the Black Knights moving in, intercepted by Skeleton Horsemen. Black Knights might put up an okay fight, but the Horsemen, just through sheer numbers, probably will get that down. Objective 2, going to be held onto for the Vampire Counts. The Vargulf and the Cryptors doing a good job holding back the mass. Meanwhile, the Graveguard here nibbling through these units, and we're probably going to start seeing some crumbling soon, but the Vampire Counts are really running out of time. It's for sure going to be a triple cap situation. He's going to have to get it going, and we do see a little bit of micro here. Dire Pack needs to stay on the objective. Zombies have moved up. Yeah, you got to keep them on the point, though. The 2 zombies, of course, do have expendable capture weight, so they're going to be able to outcap these Skeleton Warriors, but the Dire Pack needs to get back on the point, and Pone does see this, and he moves up and around on the point there, so it was very well played. Nice shot from those catapults from downtown. Man, that was a clean one right there. But this one's going to be flipping. Middle point is being contested, but the Vampire Counts do have better fighting power here. The Cryptors and the Vargulf and the Double White Kings probably get it done. And Cairn Wraiths coming in. I do like that. Spooky and fast capture weight with Direwolves as well. So it looks like the Vampire Counts might be able to get a threaten here on the triple cap. Skeleton Horseman. Oh, look at that. Very clutch getting onto the point. The Dire Pack should have stayed. That was actually a pretty colossal blunder. That would have flipped the objective and given the Vampire Counts an opportunity to hold that. But now there's going to be 2 on the objective, and the zombies are going to lose that one. That was a big mistake, a big mistake, but we'll see how it goes out. Dire Pack battling Skeleton Horsemen, who've actually earned a couple chevrons, so they're easily going to be able to win that fight. Now the zombies doing okay, you know, but both sides are kind of experiencing crumbling. In the middle, the Vargulf is going down. Wow, it's getting shanked by these Sepulchral Stalkers. It's the Eyes of the Desert. That makes a little bit more sense. But even still, the Beast is going to be falling, and this objective is going to be going to the Vampire Counts. The Vampire Counts have a double cap, and you see what I'm saying? If the Vampire Counts had flipped that objective, it would just now be coming back to Tomb Kings, and it might be in such a way that they wouldn't be in a triple cap situation. So now it's going to be tough. They're going to have to pretty much go all in. Graveguard, Great Weapons hustling across. Here are the Cairn Wraiths and the Graveguard chewing through these skeletons. Really, really nice scab scrape there from that White King. And look at that, man. Man, those Dire Packs, they put up a good fight against those Skeleton Horsemen. As a matter of fact, almost getting them to crumble too on the flip side. 2 zombies duking it out, and what are the call-ins going to be for both sides? Graveguard, Great Opens, and for the old Tomb Kings, we'd have the Ushopti Great Bows in the back, multiple Skeleton Warriors, and at this point, they would win on one objective. It's going to be a grind for it. And this is still being contested as well. Oh, look at that. Stern's been finally going. Tomb Kings might be able to flip this one, so the Graveguard may have left that objective a little bit early, but understandably, it's in a real tight pinch right now. And these units are crumbling down, right? So the Skeleton Warriors are crumbling, and that White King is just desperately holding on to that point. Right now, he needs to grab all these units. The Cairn Wraiths especially. Leave like the Graveguard unit and take everything else and move across. The Graveguard probably won't make it here in time, but the Cairn Wraiths have a slim chance. Direwolves going to be run down by chariots, and just Direwolves and dog units in general get wrecked by chariots. You can see instantly just karate chopping them because they're infantry sized and they're lightly armored, right? It's everything that a chariot wants to run into. 14-15 here on the backside. We do see the Ushopti running up to the objective. They're like, all hands on deck, baby. Let's get there. Let's protect it. Skeleton Spears coming into the backside. Cairn Wraiths hustling across, able to mitigate the capture threat here in the middle. Ushopti, of course, still battling it out with the White Kings, which have been doing great. And the objective looking like it's pretty firm for the Tomb Kings. The zombies held for a while, but at the end of the day, they did break down. The Graveguard are going to be arriving, and the Cairn Wraiths will probably get there at like the last second, but I don't think they're going to have enough capture weight to remove the Tomb Kings. We have Sepulchral Stalkers, Ushopti Great Bows, a couple different units here, and the last of the Zombos are going to be paying the Troll Toll. Actually, it appears there was some Graveguard fighting here. They might be able to stabilize and provide some capture weight, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. I don't know. If he had capped this, it would be closer, but I still think the Tomb Kings player might have been able to recap it and get it on one. It would have been really tight, though. It would have been really tight for sure. This is a very good game. Very back and forth. Kind of looked bad for the Vampire Counts, but they were able to grind that one out. And losing that Blood Dragon Lord that early is like, oof, it's rough. But Cetra appears to have died similar, too. I don't know how that happened, but he went and did his thing. So GG, well played. Pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point. With another couple of minutes, surely the Vampire Counts would win this, but that is not going to be the case. GG, well played to prepare for the Bear and Professor Pone here on Halloween. I think it's getting posted on Halloween, unless my potato brain forgets. But that was a very fun matchup. I enjoyed that. It's historically in Warhammer 2, I'm trying to think. Yeah, Vampire Counts probably won that more in Warhammer 2. I remember vivid memories of this one. And the Vampire Counts gooning with like double White Kings with Scab Scrates, or even double Banshees had a moment in the sun. And Tomb Kings would like struggle to deal with that. But yeah, it was a fun one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Sepulchral Stalkers did great. Ushopti Great Bows, hard carries, 3,400 Gs. Cetra sitting at about 11. He tried his best. And yeah, 23. Man, those Great Bows were great. And the old Bone Daddy didn't do so good. The Blood Dragon Lord, he had some problems, but it was a cool build. Got to see some Black Knights, some Cairn Wraiths. It was fun. GG, well played. See you guys next time, and take care of yourselves.